It was a night like any other in Taos, New Mexico. The kind of night where the desert seems to hold its breath, and the world feels suspended between silence and possibility. The desert air was crisp and cool, the stars brilliant overhead, scattered like diamonds across a velvet sky. The quiet was so deep, you could almost hear your own heartbeat echoing in the stillness. But for Dr. Ann Hale, something was wrong. An unease crept over her, subtle at first, like a shadow at the edge of her mind. She woke suddenly, heart pounding, not from a nightmare, but from a sound. It was unfamiliar, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. A low, persistent hum, everywhere and nowhere at once. It seemed to seep through the walls, vibrating in the very air. It vibrated in her bones, a maddening thrum with no source. The sensation was as much physical as it was auditory, impossible to escape. She pressed her hands over her ears, but the sound remained. It was as if the hum was inside her, woven into her very nerves. She checked every corner of her home, windows shut, furnace off, refrigerator silent. Yet, the hum persisted. No matter what she did, it would not stop. It was less a sound than a presence, a pressure that made her teeth ache. It pressed against her skull, relentless and invisible. As dawn broke, the hum did not fade. The golden light brought no relief, only the realization that the sound was here to stay. Days turned into weeks, and she realized she was not alone. Others in the town were beginning to whisper about sleepless nights and strange vibrations. Others in Taos were hearing it too. The hum was no longer just her burden. It was a shared affliction, a secret that bound the townspeople together. A hidden chorus of suffering emerged from the quiet streets. People exchanged knowing glances, searching for answers in each other's eyes. The sound had a name now, the Taos Hum. It became a whispered legend, a mystery that haunted the town's every corner. No one knew what it was. Theories spread, but none could explain the relentless, inescapable noise. Dr. Hale, a rational physician, found herself facing the inexplicable. Science offered no comfort, only more questions. The hum was a physical sensation, ancient and mechanical at once. It felt as if the earth itself was trying to speak or warn. It was loudest indoors, a cruel irony for those seeking refuge. The very places meant for comfort became chambers of torment. The town's peace was shattered, replaced by a shared, secret torment. The hum was a shadow that followed, day and night. The hum became a constant, unnerving companion. Sleep grew elusive, and the night stretched long and restless. For the hearers, life in Taos would never be the same. The town was changed, its spirit unsettled by the sound that should not be. The mystery had only just begun. In the heart of the desert, the Taos Hum waited, its secret still hidden in the silence between the stars. Taos, New Mexico, a haven for artists and seekers of peace. Nestled in the high desert, this small town has long been a refuge for those drawn to its beauty and quiet spirit. Its adobe buildings and open spaces promise tranquility, a sense of timelessness that seemed untouched by the chaos of the outside world. But for some, that peace was suddenly, inexplicably shattered. The first reports of a strange, persistent noise were dismissed as imagination or perhaps a passing nuisance. A handful of residents complained of a low-pitched drone, like a distant engine idling just out of sight, a sound that seemed to vibrate through walls and floors. Officials checked power lines and businesses. Nothing unusual was found, no source to explain the relentless hum. The complaints were logged, then quietly forgotten, buried under routine paperwork. But the sound didn't go away. Night after night, it lingered, haunting the quiet streets and homes. More people started to hear it, whispering about the strange phenomenon in hushed tones. The town's atmosphere shifted. Tension crept in, replacing the easy calm that once defined Taos. Faces at the market grew weary, conversations tinged with anxiety and confusion. The hum divided Taos, those who heard it and those who didn't. Skepticism clashed with empathy, and neighbors found themselves at odds. Was it real, or a mass delusion? The question echoed through living rooms and cafes alike. For the hearers, the hum was a nightmare, loudest indoors, causing headaches, nausea, and sleepless nights that seemed to stretch on endlessly. The sound frayed nerves and tested sanity, leaving people on edge and desperate for relief. Some questioned their own minds, wondering if stress or imagination was to blame. Was the sound external, or a phantom within? The line between reality and perception blurred. The search for answers grew desperate, with late-night hunts and heated town meetings. The town's unity was tested by an invisible force, as suspicion and fear took root. The hum was no longer just a curiosity, it was a crisis that threatened to unravel the very fabric of Taos. Among the tormented was Bob Cowan, a retired professor who had spent his life seeking knowledge and peace. After decades of teaching, he'd moved to Taos for its reputation as a tranquil haven, hoping to find solace in the quiet landscape and gentle pace of life. But the hum stole that peace from him. He described it as a relentless, pulsating, 56 Hz vibration that seemed to pass through his entire body, making even the simplest moments of rest impossible. The sound was invisible, yet it felt inescapable, haunting him day and night. Bob kept meticulous logs, searching for patterns, desperate for answers that might explain his torment. He wasn't alone. Katanya Saltzman, an artist, felt the hum as an oppressive force that seemed to press down on her spirit, making her world feel smaller and more confining. The hum disrupted Katanya's creativity, leaving her perpetually unsettled and anxious. She tried white noise machines, earplugs, and even rearranged her studio, but nothing worked. The constant vibration gnawed at her nerves, making sleep and inspiration equally elusive. The hearers, as they came to call themselves, formed a support group. They gathered in living rooms and community centers, sharing their experiences, fears, and frustrations. In these meetings, they found solace in each other's company, realizing they weren't alone in their suffering. For many, the hum was loudest at night, worse indoors, and it defied every attempt at recording or measuring. Some fled their homes in desperation, unable to bear the constant torment. Others left Taos entirely, seeking relief elsewhere, but the memory of the hum lingered. These were ordinary people, teachers, artists, families, whose lives were upended by an invisible torment. Their pleas for help grew more urgent as the hum continued, and their sense of isolation deepened. The hum was no longer a private misery. It had become a public health crisis. The suffering of the community was undeniable, but the cause remained elusive, leaving everyone searching for answers that never seemed to end. The hearers clung to each other, united by a mystery that defied explanation. Their search for relief and for understanding became their only hope in a world that suddenly felt unfamiliar and strange. The outcry could no longer be ignored. In the early 1990s, the Taos Hum made national headlines. Scientists and news crews descended on the town. A team from the University of New Mexico, led by Joe Mullins, launched a comprehensive study. Sensitive equipment was set up across the valley. Dozens of hearers were interviewed, their symptoms cataloged. Every possible source was investigated. Industrial sites, military bases, seismic activity. Each lead turned into a dead end. The hum remained a ghost, defying detection. Optimism faded, replaced by frustration. The most baffling discovery: the equipment picked up only ordinary background noise. Nothing matched the hearers' descriptions. The machines said the hum wasn't there, but the hearers insisted it was real. The investigation deepened the mystery. Science had no answers. The Taos Hum refused to be found. The University of New Mexico's report was a bombshell. No acoustic evidence of the hum was found. Skeptics called it tinnitus or mass delusion. But the researchers couldn't deny the hearers' sincerity. About 2% of Taos's population was affected. Some could detect a real external sound, autoacoustic emissions. But this didn't explain the source. What if the hearers themselves were the instruments, picking up signals too faint for machines? The idea was unsettling. Technology was too crude to perceive what some humans could. The hearer's suffering was real, but the source remained a ghost. The investigation only deepened the enigma. With science at a dead end, some looked to the Earth itself. The Taos Valley sits on a geologically active rift. Could microseisms, tiny earthquakes, cause the hum? Or was the valley's shape amplifying distant low-frequency sounds? These theories explained some aspects, but not why only a few heard it, or why it followed people who left. The Earth was a suspect, but the evidence was thin. The planet kept its secrets. The hum remained unexplained. When science failed, the theories turned strange. Some blamed secret military experiments or government projects. Others suggested extraterrestrial origins, a cloaked ship, a signal from beyond. Taos's history of UFO sightings fueled speculation. These ideas, though fringe, reflected the desperation of the hearers. The hum pushed them to the edge of reason. Whether government, aliens, or something else, the source was powerful and indifferent. The truth seemed stranger than fiction. Years have passed, but the hum remains. Scientists and news crews have moved on. For the hearers, the torment is daily and real. They've adapted, soundproofing homes, moving beds, seeking relief. The hum is now part of Taos's folklore, a ghost haunting the high desert. The division between hearers and non-hearers lingers. The hum challenges our understanding of reality. It hints at forces just beyond our senses. The hearers are left with their suffering, witnesses to a crime with no perpetrator. The cause remains a phantom. The presence refuses to leave. Today, the sun sets over Taos, painting the sky in fiery colors. For some, the silence is a lie. The hum continues. The mystery endures, defying science and turning lives upside down. Is it the Earth, the mind, or something stranger? Every theory raises more questions. The hum's legacy is unease, a reminder of the limits of our knowledge. Reality is subjective. One person's silence is another's torment. Some mysteries may never be solved. For the hearers, relief is the only hope. For the rest of us, the Taos hum is a chilling reminder. Even in the quietest places, you never know what you might hear.